Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Hurricane Watching is here. A tropical weather update. Today we have quite a bit to talk about with this typhoon, Typhoon Gaemi approaching Taiwan, closing in on Taiwan there at 95 knots, 952 millibars. It does appear that it is going through an eyewall replacement cycle, which we are going to get to that very shortly. Radar right here. Talk a little bit about its radar and talk a little bit about what we're looking here on the radar imagery. You can't see an eye. It does look like another eye wall trying to develop. We're going to watch over several hours of how this storm is developing, but it does look like it's going through an eye wall replacement cycle. So it may hold off on the intensification, but this is what we're looking at with the storm right now. This is from force13.com. Deep convection near the center. And around the center where we are starting to see where that eye wall may start to develop, or where that eye wall is, and we could see an eye develop there as well once this eye wall replacement cycle goes through. I want to talk a little bit about the forecast models and what we're seeing with the storm, when it will make landfall. Is it going to intensify all the way up to landfall? Is it going to weaken a little bit before landfall? And what the conditions are looking like ahead of the storm. So looking at the HWRF model for Gaemi, so again, this is the main storm we want to talk about. And again, it shows in 6 hours, it could be at 9:30, in 3 hours, 9:41, 6 hours, 9:36. That looks like it might be a little lower than it may be. May not get all the way down to 908 millibars. As you can see, it does look like it peaks intensity there at 908 millibars, and then a weakening 936 millibars prior to landfall there. Could still be a very strong 130 mile an hour hurricane, typhoon there, prior to landfall there in northern Taiwan. And again, Taipei is at the northern tip, so they will get a lot of that heavy rain and very gusty winds. Probably hurricane force. Definitely hurricane force wind gusts are likely as the storm moves over that region. And then it emerges over. It continues to weaken as it doesn't have enough time to reorganize. They're making landfall there in China. So lots of heavy rain. Right here at its most strongest, really strong winds right here on the westward. It even looks like a little bit all across all of the eastern portion of the storm, where we have the heaviest of the rain, as well as where we'll see the strongest of the rain and the strongest of the winds as well. Taking a look at those winds, low 143 knots, so that's 137 knots, 157 miles an hour, so 160, 165 miles an hour is what we're looking at with this storm. Then it quickly weakens there. Looks like their landfall about 110 knots. Still pretty strong there at about 120 miles per hour there at landfall. There it makes landfall. Still bringing in a lot of those hurricane force winds to Taipei and the northern portion of Taiwan. A lot of the storm surge here we're also going to see right here in this bay area right here. We could see a lot of the rain and the waves in the storm funnel those winds in that little area right there. We could see some significant storm surge across the northern portions of Taiwan. This is indeed where this makes landfall. Now again, this is only one model. We're going to still look up through some of the other models and all that we have. The storm showing a lot stronger there. That looks 900. 909 millibars, 910, as well as strong as well. And these are all going to really show generally a same and similar idea of what we're looking at with this storm here. Again, from where it's at right now at 0 hours, let's take a look and see where it's at here. 0 hours, 89 knots, 949 millibars. And again, they're all really showing it a little bit stronger than it is right now. It's at 952 millibars. So it is going to rapidly intensify, but we still don't exactly have an idea of how strong it's going to intensify. This storm looks like a little bit of a slows down before landfall, but then moving inland there at 939.1 millibars, 119, 120 knots, 140 miles an hour. We're central, but those mountainous regions here do not transfer those winds inland, which is very good. We don't see a lot of strong winds inland over the island, just a little bit of the stronger winds just offshore. And then it reemerges very, very weak they're making landfall there in China. GFS. So this is what we got with the GFS at as of 0 hours. This kind of tells us where we are at right now. It shows 966 at 70 knots. Very, very weak. So this is showing already weaker than it is right now. So this certainly does not look like this is, according to this, it's already at over 90 knots right now, 95 knots. So they're already showing this much weaker than it's actually going to be. If we go back here, where there it is, 952 at 95 knots. It's only showing intensity of 85 knots at landfall. So GFS is already majorly underplaying the intensity of the system, saying it's barely a low-end 80-mile-an-hour typhoon right now, when in reality it's much stronger than that. Very deep convection. The storm is continuing to organize and develop quickly. Strong winds and gusty wind and lots of flooding is going to be expected there for Taiwan. That is the latest radar here that we're seeing. I'm going to see if I can go to the Taiwan Meteorological Agency and talk a little bit about what they're showing about the storm. Hopefully some of this is going to be in English, so it'll be easier for me to talk a little bit about it. Yes, good English. Easy for me to talk about. So a majority of the heaviest rainfall is going to be situated in the northern part of the island, right where the storm will move inland, right north of that, where we are for Yilian County. Very mountainous area. We will expect to see torrential rainfall with this region. But a majority of Taiwan will see extremely heavy rainfall. There will only be in a small area where we could see torrential rainfall there in this area. This Taipei city. Right here. So they could see heavy rainfall. Areas may see extremely heavy rainfall. But overall for Taipei, they will just see some heavy rainfall. But a majority of the island will see extremely heavy rainfall. A small area where the northern eyewall will move over, where you see the strongest of the winds, the heaviest of the rain, is where we're going to see the torrential rainfall there. Because of lots of flooding. Currently they're saying movement over the next 24 hours, moving west-northwest at 19 kilometers an hour, becoming 16 kilometers an hour, showing minimum surface pressure right now at 945 millibars, so this is much lower than even what we're seeing here. So already 945, well, this is really, could be a lot stronger than what they think it is right now. Maximum sustained winds near the center, 43 meters a second. I'm going to have to transfer that to miles an hour so I have an idea of how strong this is in miles an hour. So yeah, seeing 43 meters a second, so we're seeing about 96 mile an hour winds. I don't know, that seems a little bit off, because 96 mile an hour winds versus what we're showing here at was not make sense with the air pressure. 945 of only a category 1. It is not making sense. It's not adding up. Something is wrong. It's either the air pressure or the wind speed, but something is not right. Its radius is pretty big. Average radius over 15 meters second winds are 220 kilometers. So the storm is pretty good in size. We are expecting again a landfall in this area in Hitch County, where we could see the strongest of the winds move here. Yilian County, where the strongest of the winds are expected to move over that area where we can see the strongest of the winds. So that is currently, they have warnings for all these areas, and they also have the sea warnings there as well. Just right offshore and in the Straits of Taiwan. So, this storm is, so the main headlines that I wanted to talk about and cover is the storm is going to continue to intensify. We are expecting this to rapidly intensify. Maybe some slight weakening prior to landfall. It looks like the water temperatures cool off a little bit. However, I do expect this to still be a major typhoon upon landfall there in central to northern Taiwan. As well as I do expect this storm to bring dangerous storm surge to northern Taiwan. Heavy rainfall, lots of flooding is expected as well. Rip currents already in effect along the entire coast, all of the coasts of Taiwan and China. And then also dealing with that flooding. Inland flooding and freshwater flooding and saltwater flooding are going to be two of the biggest threats. And then obviously when we get that eye wall, we could see winds gusting well above 100 miles an hour. Winds could be sustained at 140 miles an hour. Winds gusting to 160, 170 mile an hour wind gusts are possible as well. So it's going to be a major typhoon when it makes landfall. We're going to continue to monitor and watch this storm as it develops. And we'll have another update probably around Thursday morning. Tomorrow I have work at 6. So Thursday morning we will have another update. So thank you guys for watching. Stay safe out there. Take care. As always, peace out.